Hello everybody, welcome back to another video with Lim Reviews. Now these days we're having so many phones and that's why you keep seeing my videos, but I do hope you like videos from me. Alright, so today we're going to be checking out two devices from Infinix. So Infinix Malaysia reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to check out their brand new devices. We will start with the Infinix Zero X Pro, and also we have the Infinix Zero 5G, which is actually Infinix brand new 5G device. Now bear in mind, these boxes do actually look very cool. I like the fact that we still have some brands are practicing, taking away the charger, smaller box and all that. But with Infinix, we get huge boxes right here. So pretty cool stuff. We're going to talk about the Infinix Zero X Pro first because that's the main one that we want to cover today. Now bear in mind, today's video is just going to be like a quick look at the phone itself. It's going to be a first impressions. I haven't really tested them out, but I want to share with you my experience after seeing it for the first time. So let's start off with the Infinix Zero X Pro. I do have it on my desk. This is how it looks like, guys. Honestly speaking, it does look fantastic for the price of RM1099 here in Malaysia, and that gives you 8GB of RAM and 128GB of internal memory. I think this phone does look super good for the price. Now at the back here, you can see we do have this sort of orange kind of fake leather going on, but it feels very nice to the touch. Definitely feels better than a lot of plastic bags. Definitely awesome feeling, and it also looks very good. You have the Infinix logo etched into the so-called leather here, so it also feels very nice. And at the back, you do have this camera bump. Now the camera bump itself is a two-stage kind of camera bump. You have one for the larger sensor and the periscope at the bottom, which we will talk about today. Now, if you flip the device to the sides, you notice that it is not a very thick device. In fact, Infinix is saying it's 7.8mm, but it has this gold coloring all around, and I think it just looks very fancy for a sort of budget to mid-level kind of phone. Awesome look here, guys. Awesome look. In terms of how it feels, again, just imagine this is your hand, and the phone itself, this is how it looks like in my hands. Definitely doesn't feel too big. It is a 6.67-inch device, so this is how it will look like in your hand, assuming you do want to get one. Now overall, I'm very happy with the look. At the bottom, you do have that single firing speaker. You also have your Type-C port, and last but not least, you do have the headphone jack. On the left, it's completely empty. You have that dual SIM cutout tray, and on the right, you do have your lock button together with your volume rocker. Very standard stuff. That's pretty cool. All right, so now done with the design, let's talk a little bit about the display at the front because we do have a rather interesting display. I'm just going to turn off this video very quickly, and there you have it. This is actually an AMOLED display, 6.67 inches like I mentioned earlier on. It refreshes at 120Hz. That means everything here is just buttery smooth. And apart from that, it goes all the way up to a maximum brightness of approximately 700 nits. Now, just in terms of the display itself, I do like it very much. Of course, it is not the best AMOLED display out there, but for the price, again, you're getting a pretty decent AMOLED display. And like I mentioned, the 120Hz is very smooth. Now, we're going to move on very quickly and talk a little bit about the cameras at the back, because that is actually one of the main things that Infinix is trying to push here. So we do have a triple camera setup. It is being led by a 108-megapixel main sensor with OIS. Apart from that, you also have an 8-megapixel telephoto lens that does optical zoom. Again, it comes with OIS. And last but not least, you have an 8-megapixel ultra-wide sensor. So if you heard that correctly, all three sensors are actually quite useful to you. We do not have any useless sensors on board. So everything is quite useful. Again, I just only took a couple of photos because I've only touched this for a few hours now. But let me just show you a very quick periscope zoom because I think it is quite impressive. Now, using this device, I was able to zoom very far away. Again, I would like to say this. If you are a stalker or you like to, zoom and see things very far, or maybe you don't want to walk so far, but you do want to see what's happening on the other street over there, this is where the Infinix Zero X Pro can actually help you out. With that 60 times zoom, you can see way far behind, and I'm actually very impressed with the zoom quality that you can get on this device. So very, very good zoom here. I think it is actually comparable to devices even more expensive, and I think Infinix has done a good job by providing that periscope lens on board here. Other than that, in terms of just the normal main sensor as well as the ultra-wide, it is nothing too spectacular. Images are alright, it's not bad, but on proper decent lighting, you would be able to get some decent shots. Alright, so that's just in terms of the camera. Moving on, this device is actually powered by the Helio G95, and like I mentioned earlier on, it does comes with 8GB of RAM and 128GB of internal memory. Last but not least, in terms of the battery, like I said, it is quite slim, so it houses a 4500 mAh battery, but it does support fast charging. It comes with the charger in the box. It's just sitting on my desk. We have this 45-watt charger, and it also comes with the cable with it. So according to Infinix, it will go from 0 to 40% in just 15 minutes. So it's quite fast for this device. All right. So that's what we have to share in terms of this guy. Overall, I just think that it's such a great looker because we seldom see this kind of orange back here. Feels great, guys. It feels really awesome. Now let's move on to the next device and check out the Infinix Zero 5G. Again, very cool box. Now I've just unboxed this guy here. Now this one looks very different. So Infinix is saying that this is actually their first actual 5G device, trying to get that in focus. I have this all in black out. And notice the design here is all one single back panel, but it does protrude out a little bit more for the camera bump. I think it's an interesting design. We have seen it somewhere else, but overall, I think it looks quite alright. We do have a triple sensor at the back here, but overall, I think it does feel quite solid. There is a lot of fingerprints that gets captured on the back, and that's because it is a glossy back panel, so you might want to use a case. We also have a Type-C port at the bottom, a single firing speaker, and of course, you still have the headphone jack. Now, what's really interesting about this device is that for the price, it's actually just RM999, and that gives you 8GB of RAM and 128GB of internal memory. But the processor and RAM that it's using is actually quite interesting. Now, for this price range, you would expect it to be, in the bottom of the mid-range processors. But this device actually comes with a Dimensity 900 5G. I think it is quite alright. I've been able to run a couple of games quite smoothly. But here it is out. The interesting thing here is actually in terms of the RAM as well as the storage. We do have LPDDR5 RAM and UFS 3.1 storage on a device that costs RM999. So that's pretty impressive, I would say, for Infinix to give on this Zero 5G. Other than that, I think it also comes with a pretty decent set of sensors. You have that 48-megapixel main sensor, you have a 13-megapixel telephoto lens, and last but not least, there's also a 2-megapixel AI kind of sensor, which I'm not too sure what it does, but it's there. So those are the kind of sensors that you get. Apart from that, in terms of the display at the front, now this one is something of a slight disappointment because it is only LCD at the front. I did wish it came with AMOLED because it does refresh at 120 Hz. The size is also quite large. I think it's 6.8 inches, something like that at the front. So very large size here, and it is a 1080p display. So definitely wish it was AMOLED because otherwise it would just have been perfect. Now, last but not least, in terms of the battery, you do get a 5000 mAh battery here. And in terms of the charging speeds, haven't really tested that out, so I don't have the info to share with you right now. Alright guys, those are the two devices that I wanted to share with you. Last but not least, a quick side-by-side look. This is the Zero X Pro, and this is the Zero 5G, the two new devices from Infinix. This one goes for RM1099, and the Zero 5G goes for RM999. Quite affordable, I would say. Alright guys, that's it for today's very quick first impressions at these devices. If you do have any further questions, feel free to leave a comment down in the section below. If you want to support the channel, don't forget to drop a like, sub to the channel, and of course, I hope to see all of you guys in the next one. Stay safe, everybody. Bye!